So in this question, it's asking about least common denominator. And if you remember what least common denominators are useful for, it's generally when you have to add fractions together. You need to know what least common denominators are. But in this case, it's not asking us to add them together. It just wants to know what the least common denominator is. So let's look at our denominators. Remember, denominators are numbers on the bottom. I've got 16, 12, and 21. And I want to know what the least common denominator is. So maybe you pick 12. Okay? That's the least denominator, but it's not the least common denominator. Remember what a least common denominator is. That's going to be a number that's typically bigger than any of the other denominators, which all those numbers divide into. So if you look at what you have to do in this is you have to factor your numbers. So let's take 16. That factors into 2, sure, fine. Factors into 2 and 8. And 8 factors into 2 and 4, and 4 factors into 2 and 2. So 16 is really just 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. Okay? And likewise, we can do this factor tree method for the other ones. 12, that's just 3 and 4. 4 is just 2 and 2. So 12 is 3 times 2 times 2. Okay? And the last one, 21, that's the easiest factor tree of all because that's just 3 and 7. They're prime numbers. You can't go any further than that. So it's 3 times 7. So when you're looking for a least common denominator, you have to make sure this denominator contains at least as many factors as any one of the denominators. So this one is 4 2's. So my least common denominator must contain 4 2's. Okay, it also must contain at least 1 3 and at least 1 7. Okay, that's what it must contain at least. So what's that going to be? That's going to be 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 7. Calculator time. 2 to the 4th power times 3 times 7. That is going to be 336. Okay, great, we've got an answer. Now, with these sorts of problems, what I would recommend, if you have the time for it, go ahead and check. Just make sure that when you divide 336, your least common denominator, by the other denominators, everything works out okay. And by that I mean there's no remainders. So 336 divided by 16, 21. It's a nice whole number. That's good. 336 divided by 21, well, that's going to be 16, another whole number. And 336 divided by, was it 12? Yeah, 12. That was another one of my denominators. I sure hope this is also a whole number. Yep, 28. So because there's no remainders in those divisions, I know that this is a least common denominator, and it also has at least as many factors as all the individual denominators did, right? Here's what you don't need. Okay, just to clarify, let me get this stuff out of the way here. What you do not need to do is count up the total number of 2's and the total number of 3's. So this is not going to be 2 to the 6th power times 3 squared times 7. Although you might see options that look appealing in here. Like, I don't know where 4,000 came from, but maybe 4,000 is what you get when you multiply all of these things together. That's not what we're doing with the least common denominator.